we're live. Wow. Welcome to another Nerd Stalker interview. Good afternoon or good morning, actually, and happy Bike to Work Day in San Francisco there. This is Greg Valoria, aka Social Greg, on Twitter for the Nerd Stalker Media Network. Today, I'm pleased to talk again with the Zackees Crew live from the San Francisco headquarters here on Google Hangouts. And Zackees, you know, from our interviews a few years ago, introduced a new concept in bicycle safety and a new twist on bicycle gloves. Which is their turn signal gloves. And we hope to get an update and a preview of some new things they've been cooking up there at Zackees headquarters. But anyway, good morning. Thanks for joining us on Nerd Stalker, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Hello.
Hey, so let's jump in and talk about where Zackees is. Obviously, that mask is a new thing.
We're currently in America's Greatest Makers. The TV show. We're showing off our new product called Fashion Glow Jewelry, which I'm wearing right here, which you might not be able to see. We've been making great progress on our turn signal gloves and getting that into the market. People are totally stoked, and we're totally stoked because our sales keep on going up, and we're hitting the break-even point, which is really awesome to us. We can't wait for what the rest of 2016 holds in store for us. So, yeah.
Wow. So tell me about some of the new things like the mask and obviously the pendant.
So let me tell you about this mask. So I made this mask because I was auditioning for the television show America's Greatest Makers, reality TV show showcasing 24 of some of the greatest makers in America. They're coming together in order to create new products for people, and they're judged on those products by the basis of marketability, their use of the Intel Curie module chip, and some other factors related to entrepreneurship. And so right now, the next episode that's coming up on Tuesday is where I'm going to be featured, and you guys should totally tune in. Right now we're in a battle round to figure out who goes forward.
Oh, it's pretty ideal. It's a bike to work week next week, so I know this has nothing to do with that, but at least it you know, your roots go back to that. So
yeah, well, this is fantastic on a bicycle. Let me tell you.
Well, if you have that mask on a bicycle, they definitely will see you. They definitely will see you.
Yeah. Yes.
I think you might be lighting up the roadway on Market Street for the rest of the bikers there.
Yeah.
Oh man. But anyway, you know, if you guys don't know, the man behind the mask there is the founder, Zach Voorhees of Zackies. And right next to him on his right is Murat Adonis, which we interviewed before on this channel. And then to the left is Adonis. So anyway, that's a real wild intro there. But you know, tell me about where the bicycle gloves are too, because that's your roots, right? I mean, how did you guys learn anything from your initial production days about the gloves? And I like your philosophy about just put it out there, and we'll improve it as people start to use it, right?
Yeah, so one of the big lessons that we learned with wearable products that go into the washing machine is that corrosion is a really big factor. You're using wires to connect different components together. They need to be tin plated, and you need to be very careful so that they're sealed so that water doesn't get in. We had a big problem with our Gen 1 gloves because we used bare copper fine strain wire, and they oxidized, and there was improper manufacturing techniques that were applied, and it basically meant that we had to sit there and take apart about a third of the gloves and remove the wires and put new ones on and seal everything back up before shipping to customers. That was really expensive. Another part of that metal corrosion is our rivets. Our contact rivets were suffering from problem humidity area and the Keys and Jamaica, and the reason why was because they were nickel-plated iron. And what we had to do is we had to find a rivet on the market that was made out of brass that was then nickel-plated.
Oh, okay.
To do that, we actually had to find a custom supplier that would make it to our specifications. And
Wow.
so, starting with the Gen 2s, we released the nickel-plated brass rivets, and those have performed wonderfully. And the Gen 3s, which just went on sale today, they've been further improved by taking the rivet and burying them inside the fabric. So now you've got a comfortable layer of fabric between your hand and the rivet. And this works really well for those professional riders that are doing like 4 hours a day. And they're like, hey, the glove started rubbing my hand wrong on like mile 150, right? Well, hey, if you ride 150 miles a day, the new Gen 3s are for you. They're our best glove yet. You can find them at www.zackies.com.
I mean, if you're riding 100, that isn't exactly a commute to work, right? And I think most of it is, I think the way you positioned it was really neat because it was more for urban bikers, the way I looked at it, right, originally. People on the street want to be safe, a lot of traffic out there, so on and so forth. And in fact, I think a few weeks ago they did the Bike Coalition did I guess the kind of the memorial ride around San Francisco, right, where they gave homage to all the people who had passed away in San Francisco on their bikes, right? So
yep.
This just helps lower that number, right? So anyway, yeah. So that's a lot of learning. I mean, the corrosion thing, I totally understand. Who would have known, right? You had to have people use these things until you figured out, what the real use case is going to kind of pan out to be, right? We were talking about that earlier, use cases, right?
Well, the funny thing is that before we launched, like when we were about to build, at scale, our product, we were like arguing about whether like our algorithm would be able to detect whether a rechargeable battery or a one-use battery was going to work right. And I think we spent like weeks like trying to figure out the best algorithm for that. And in the end, it turned out it was like the corrosion of the rivets were the big problem, and the copper wire that we used. And we weren't even paying attention to that. And it just totally slipped our radar. So, sometimes the things that you don't expect are the ones that actually bite you.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think people don't understand that. Like you were talking earlier about, being perfect, and waiting to be perfect, which will never happen. Right. And especially, right.
Gloves are absolutely perfect.
Right.
Gen 3, they're absolutely perfect.
And I think that, in the startup world, right, we want, the idea is to iterate fast, right? It isn't about making the most perfect product, right?
Well, the thing is that, mastery is not something that you get right away. People are like, first you make it and then you master it. And it's that order. And if you try to jumpstart that and go right to the mastery and make it perfect right out the door, you're going to fail. Either by something that you knew or something that actually because of something that you didn't expect. Yeah,
right. I mean, that's more the maker's mantra, right? Of trying to, just get something to work with glue and tape. Or, obviously you're going to have to do it better than glue and tape if you're going to get into the consumer's hands. But I mean, get them using it and find out exactly, because I don't think you can model all the use cases, right?
You can't. You don't know how the user's going to use it.
Right. Okay. Well, geez, that's a great update. I appreciate that. Let's talk about, let's talk more about this America's Makers segment that's coming up next Tuesday, right? I mean, you were already on Shark Tank, and that was an interesting experience from what I read, and I talked to you a little bit offline about that. And talk about this new show called America's Makers.
So America's Greatest Makers.
Greatest Makers.
Executive producer Mark Burnett, and it's a collaboration with him and Intel. And they found 24 of some of the best makers in all America, going through thousands or tens of thousands of applications. And they decided, hey, let's make them battle it out for a $1 million prize for your entertainment. That's the show in the next shot.
Wow. Yeah, and like I said, I think they're actually they put out a call for castings for the second season already, I think. So we just put that on Nerd Stalker this morning, actually. The casting call for I guess it's going to end in August, but there's a casting call already for the second season. So obviously they're already funded and ready to go for a second season at this point. So, but I was reading an article of the digital trends about, it's one of your quotes, and one of your quotes says is interesting. Presenting my creations to judges, and this is on America's Greatest Makers, was absolutely terrifying. You said, I think Shark Tank would have been easier. Wow. I mean, I just can't imagine. Can you kind of elaborate a little bit on that? Why you said that?
Look, I've been watching Shark Tank for like 3 years. I've built my company Zackies on what would I say to the judges that would make them give me an offer. And so because of all the Shark Tank I've watched, I'm pretty much aware of every question that they would ask, and I've got great answers for each one of them. This show didn't have that history. And so I didn't know what to expect. And so I just said, hey, look, I'm just going to get the brightest outfit that I could possibly make, and regardless of what happens, I'm going to give the best show for the audience.
You fairly did. I mean, if you brought that mask on board there, that had to be incredible.
Yeah, it was a pretty defining moment in my life, walking onto that stage with my face on fire, going, I hope they like this. And they did. They laughed out loud, and then, they said that I was crazy, but crazy smart, and they wanted me to go forward because, they wanted to see what I was going to come up with next.
But, it was interesting. There was another outtake that I saw online of you fixing the mask right before you went on or something like that. And then another contestant actually was helping you. Can you talk about that?
Oh, man. Oh, I got to take off my mask for this, because this mask broke down on the set. Okay. They brought me in for this pre-interview before I go on stage, and they're like, so how you feeling? How are your nerves? I'm like, my nerves are shot. My mask broke right here. So the front of this, it was working all the way down to here, and then the rest of it was just white. And that looks ugly. You can't do that. And so I'm telling them I got to fix this thing, but I don't have the right tools, and I'm freaking out. And then all of a sudden, they get the cameras on, because they're like, drama, yes, see your pain. And one of the other contestants, we're not allowed to help each other, but he was like, I'm going to help you.
Yeah, right.
I got the proper tool, which was a little heat gun that was powered by butane. And so we came in, and together we sat there. We started heating up this thermoplastic and peeling it away to get access to the wires, because it was just a wire that fell that came off. So we just fixed it, together, and that probably saved me. If I had gone in there with broken stuff, they're like, what kind of makers are you? All your stuff is broken, and luckily that wasn't the case. I went on there with a fully functional mask, and my competitor Gray helped save me. And so he proved that he was a maker and not a faker.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you said that, this is the whole thing about startups and making, right? You have to help each other, right?
Yep.
That's the nature of it, right? And so you kind of prove the concept out of making on the America's Greatest Makers, right? With that back. Yeah, I mean, I could see that becoming, if they ever did a documentary on you, that clip has to go in there, man.
Yeah.
Totally. So I
think it's an important point to note, because I've lived in a lot of places, and I've seen this kind of behavior a lot of places where there's a belief that competition comes from holding your idea inside and not sharing it, and not letting other people help you succeed, help you manifest those ideas into reality. And San Francisco is very different in that way. People share and they collaborate, and and ideas are not rare. It's time and talent and money that are difficult to acquire here in San Francisco. And I think that harms people when they prevent other people from helping them succeed by feeling like you have to compete all the time on everything. And so in the show America's Greatest Makers, they were trying to put us against each other as makers. And so one of the rules is you're not allowed to help each other. When stuff like this happens, the guys mess with you.
Yeah, I think that's the Hollywood part of it, right?
Yeah,
I think that's that Hollywood thing, right?
And it's not congruent with the maker culture out here in San Francisco, because in
Yeah.
San Francisco, it's like when ultimately, and I don't think this is really stated, but when Zach succeeds, as an example, then everyone else who is in the wearable industry also succeeds, because Zach's credibility lends credibility to other people. It builds consumer confidence in products that are wearable and micro technology or whatever. So it builds the ecosystem, it builds consumer trust, and ultimately everyone succeeds from each individual success that happens in the industry.
Yeah.
So,
No, I think if you talk to Doherty at Maker, at Make, he believes the same thing. It's all about creating the ecosystem around you.
yeah.
That's a encouraging ecosystem, not this, kind of peer-to-peer ecosystem, right? Which, doesn't make any sense to me. Hey, Murat, we haven't heard from you, so I want to talk. So how much of your hands was in that mask, man? Because I remember when we had you on last time, you did a lot of Burning Man wearable electronics. So tell me about this.
Very minimal involvement. That's
Really
the mask. Yeah, I helped with some nuts and bolts stuff, like getting the some of the things soldered. Last minute, trying to scramble to get it ready. But that's all Zach. The mask.
Wow. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I know you guys are all engineers. I mean, so I have no doubt you could create anything, each one of you. So, but anyway, so we'll look for, when is the actual episode again airing that you guys are gonna be on?
It's going to air on TBS Tuesday at 9 p.m. Pacific time, 6 Pacific time if you're on Dish. And it's 9 p.m. TBS. Watch it.
That's awesome. TBS. Oh my God. But looks like you're gonna have another show in your future if you keep on going this route. So, and like I said, I'm gonna have to come down to your headquarters there and shoot some documentary B-roll just to document this. So, but anyway, I'll let you get going. But thanks for joining us here on Nerd Stalker Live, and back to work day in San Francisco, which is something that your gloves are helping those thousands of people who have bought them so far. So we really appreciate that. And anyway, where can we get a hold of you and get a hold and see more of your products?
You can see more of our products at www.zackies.com. If you want to reach out to us, we've got a contact form. It actually goes to a real human, and it'll probably go to me. You can say, hey, this message is for Zach. That message will get to me, and we can have a dialogue there. So I like to hear ideas, and I like to hear what customers have to think, and what makers have to think. If you got a cool idea, send it our way. We'd love to talk to you about it. I give free mentorships for people that are also trying to create their own Kickstarter, because I've gone through the whole hell and back, and I've got stories to tell in PowerPoint presentation style. So don't feel stranger to reach out.
Oh man, this is cool, so cool. Yeah, definitely have to come down and film some of your stuff down there. So anyway, thanks again for joining us, everyone. I appreciate that. This is Greg Valori, aka Social Greg, on Twitter for the Nerd Stalker Media Network, where we believe in tech, startups, design, and you. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and be careful out there. Hey, thanks again, Zackees Crew. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Greg.
All right, yeah, just hang in there with me offline, and I just want to talk to you one little bit there. Get offline here.